And we're now live. Good evening, good morning, good night. Welcome to another episode of Hong Kong House of Cards, Mage Edition. um, we're basically having a little private powwow between Dmitry Dragomir, Seat of Judgment in the city, and Tony Zhang. I always forget how to pronounce. I was close.
Yeah, Tony Zhang.
Yay. She'd receive a call from Dmitry, probably a text, honestly, saying, "Hey, there have been a couple developments. We have a new speaker. Arthur's had to step down due to essentially ill health. I was hoping I might get a chance to bring you up to speed. Are you available to talk?"
She'd reply to the text, "Yes, I'm free to speak," and it seems a little odd that Arthur, of all people, has ill health. Either way, yes.
He'll give you an address, which is in the Docks District, not like a completely bad area or anything. He'll say, "If you head there, I'll meet you there." I'd give you the exact address, but ... you'd probably have trouble finding it. No offense. Oh, crud. Technical difficulties, folks. Hold on.
Okay, sorry, my headset cut out for some odd reason as soon as I finished speaking.
It's all good. So would she have... Oh, now there's echo. Joy. It's okay. It's not major. So would she go to the address?
Yes. Hold on, let me just find that.
No problem. Technical difficulties.
Okay, can you hear the echo now?
Yes.
Still?
I mean, there's still a slight echo, but I can still hear. But I can hear you.
Damn. Figures now of all times it would do this.
It's okay. I mean, if I'm talking, I don't notice. Okay, now I do hear it. Right now? It's a lot quieter now.
These fucking headphones piss me off.
It's okay. Yeah, that just means they don't have noise cancellation or anything. Are they old?
No, they're like, I don't know.
We'll figure something out. Anyways, okay, so you're given an address in the Docks District. Dmitry will meet you there. If you show up there, he's sitting there along the side of the road in basically a Humvee.
Yeah, she'd show up with her, bag and everything.
He'll open the door and say, if I try to even walk you in, it's going to be a little disorienting. We've noticed it's easier if we drive people in the first time.
She gives him a really odd look, but then hops into the car.
All right. He's going to start driving, and I know character sheet dice things. How dare I? Can you pull up your character sheet and roll your permanent willpower?
Just 1 second to get there.
No problem. I just want to roll that many dice versus difficulty 6. You need 5 successes.
I don't even have... Okay.
Yeah, it's okay, but
I might have 5 willpower.
You could succeed. Oh, so close. 10s do not double in this case.
Damn.
Okay, you almost made it, but as we're driving, you suddenly find yourself getting extremely disoriented, like almost vertigo. Just you're not sure. Did we take a turn? Where? Like, we're still obviously in the docks, but you are not sure where we are. You're kind of wondering for a second, why am I here? Maybe I should go away. I'm sure there's other things I need to be doing instead of being here. Dmitry is attuned to the ward, so he's okay.
She's gonna kind of grab onto the dashboard and just kind of start looking around and muttering to herself in Cantonese, trying to...
Damn it, speak Japanese! Just kidding. Anyways, within like less than a minute, he stops the car and he taps something into a pad and says, "All right, Cabal, make sure she's attuned at this point." A couple seconds later, the vertigo is going to pass because we do it that easily. We don't have to make a roll out of it. At this point, you notice you're still in docks. You're probably several blocks from where you started. There's no people around. Like, normally there might be a couple people. There's no one around. Instead, you're in front of what looks like one of the dry docks, and there is a big, mid-sized cargo freighter, and it's hoisted up. There's no water, and it's just literally, it's been hoisted up, and it's obviously someone stopped repairing it years ago. So it's kind of derelict at this point. But there's a gangway heading up. There's also a guy or two up there. They look like armed guards. Someone else has armed guards. What the fuck? They're not like being obvious and carrying like assault rifles or anything though. These guys are just, they are obviously, they must be prepared for something.
Yeah.
They're just keeping an eye out. He gets out of the vehicle and opens her door if she's still a little disoriented.
Nah, she's
okay.
Not for that. She's gonna open her door herself.
All right. He'll nod and motion towards the ship. This is where Miss Langley, myself, and a few others reside. It's relatively safe, as you can tell. It's not easy to get here.
Yeah, I can tell. It's not too pleasant getting in.
No. If you were to be a frequent guest or anything, we'd make it so that you wouldn't have to deal with that particular effect. But right now, the only people permanently allowed through the wards are our actual personnel and myself, Asuka, Castle, and Michaela.
I can see why.
So I'll take you inside. Don't be too alarmed by anything you see in there. It's a little, he kind of like uses air quotes, like a little science fiction-y in there for most people, I'm told.
It takes a lot to scare me or make me nervous. I'm sure I'll be fine.
So he'll lead you up there. The guards aren't gonna. The guards actually don't look like locals. Like they're more likely to be Westerners. There's only two of them up here. They also don't look like they're like triad thugs or anything, obviously. Like these guys didn't come from a streets background. These guys are more like corporate security background. They actually took training and shit.
Ooh, fun.
So probably a little bit better trained individually. They just kind of like nod politely and then just like go back to, watching the area. He'll lead her down into the ship. There's a mess hall, various rooms, yada yada. Roll a perception empathy. I hate doing this, or not perception empathy, perception alertness. My apologies. I'm just trying to give some flavor for the place.
Okay.
I'm not even going to roll stealth for it. I just want to see what you get. That'll determine what you catch.
Come on, rolls.
All right, 2 successes. You notice as we're turning one corner, you see on one of the junctions ahead, something skittered out of sight. This was not a standard insect or anything. It's actually about the size of a Saint Bernard.
She kind of blinks and instinctively kind of reaches her hand behind her to grab at the dagger hilt that's carefully hidden in her bag, but then when it skitters off, she lowers her hand and gives Dimitri a really odd look of, what the hell was that?
Dimitri hasn't even noticed. His perception alertness sucks. I'm not even going to roll it. He literally just Plus, even if he'd seen it, he probably wouldn't have paid it any attention. He just like goes like, he might notice that you aren't following and just like kind of look back like, something wrong?
She just shakes her head and catches back up with him.
right.
Nothing.
He'll take her into the rest of the building. He's going to take you down towards the lab. Oh God, the lab. Okay, how to describe this?
Labs with the crystals, right?
The lab has crystals. There's like there's a 5x5. It's okay. You won't destroy these by being close to them. We figured out. It's just, we'll figure out eventually that their biometrics are a little off when you're around them. So we'll probably ask you not to be around them, or we'll find another room for them or something, kept away from your horrible influence. But in the meantime, you see a 5. Besides, they don't even look necessarily organic to you at first. There's a 5x5 series of pots, not all of which are filled. Maybe about half of them. They're big pots of dirt, and they're probably in an enclosure, actually, because they're not just filled with dirt. There's also other things like junk. Like, not like, it's all biomass. It's all organic. And there's some waste products in there, so it probably smells pretty bad, which is why it's enclosed. It has, like, things to fumigate and shit like that. But, there are these big green crystals growing out. By big, I mean they're like, let me turn my camera on for half a second. Think about like this size at best. A bunch of them are going to be smaller though, like more about this.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Switch back. Okay. So there are a bunch of those growing, and a bunch of them have what look like shoots coming out of them. Like more crystals are growing. Impossible as that may seem, like crystals aren't supposed to grow like that. These are. And moreover, there's one batch that looks like they're almost done. Like they've almost created, each one is almost created 4 new ones.
Okay.
Also, there's a 26th pot, which is sitting next to the others. It has a bird made out of stone. Like a tropical bird that's just wedged in the dirt, sitting there. It's not moving.
She's gonna kind of glance around at everything, and then you're seeing the really odd crystals. She's gonna walk over towards them and start looking them over. She kind of glances over at the bird, but not too much.
The bird ruffles its feathers and then like just goes back to sleep because it's not my NPC. But it's definitely alive.
When the stone bird moves, she takes a few steps back, and this little snake's head, not little, they're actually pretty big, this snake's head is going to start slithering out of her backpack. And
you might want to keep that away from it. It's not food.
She looks over, huh?
That he nods towards your snake. He's like, don't let it eat the bird, please.
She reaches a hand up and she strokes Pelagius's head. I wasn't gonna eat it.
I don't know. They're both like, if that's, I don't know.
It's
all right.
It's stone. Why did it? What? Why did it move?
It's a spirit taking physical form.
Oh, that would explain it.
Yes. All right. By the way, there is one other big noticeable thing in the room. Other than, actually, there's a bunch of things I got a list. Sorry. The crystals probably would have taken the most attention because they cover almost the most space. However, there's 2 racks on the wall, one of which is full, one of which is empty. They look like they would be big enough to hold suits or like a man. It's almost like a stasis tube. I'm going to put a picture of one. This one, which that's currently what it looks like, is held up in one. And there's some sort of biofluid covering it. Like, that stasis tube is full of this shit. It's obviously some kind of liquid. The eye lenses are green, by the way, not red. Other than that, it's pretty much that picture. There's also a weaponry rack next to the thing, which has what looks like a heavy submachine gun, which is very advanced, with what almost looks like a USB cord coming out of the butt. With it's not plugged into anything; it's just hanging there.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's and like I said, the other vat is currently empty. However, there is also a big thing in the closer to the where all the workstations are, because there's like computers and tools and everything else. There's a slightly bigger one. It's a series of 6 things. In the middle, you have a big computer core. We're talking like supercomputer core almost. It's like 6 feet tall. Like one mother of a CPU. It is big.
Okay.
And it's got like a monitor on it. It's got like keyboard and shit like that. And then connected to it with all these cables and lines and everything else, there are these 5 vats, which are filled with some sort of opaque liquid. Looks similar to what you saw in the other one, except it's dark. Itself is opaque, so you can't really see what's in there. Like it's there's a little bit coming through, enough to let you know there's liquid in there, and you think there might be a shape inside it, but you can't tell. And there's all 5 of these are connected to the machine.
Okay.
As far as I know, that's everything. Oh, wait. One more thing. Off in the corner, like this is literally the corner of the cargo hold, there are, I believe, 5 of these suckers. No, sorry, 6 of them. My bad. Covered with a tarp, like mostly covered. So you can see one of them is like halfway uncovered.
Okay.
There are no visible weapons on that thing, by the way. These things just look like just what you see there. Though that thing's carrying something, so obviously it doesn't have the thing it's carrying.
Yeah.
And they're slightly bigger than humans. Slightly.
Okay. She's gonna look around, take a look at everything in there, but then she's gonna walk over to the weapon rack and just start just gonna poke the machine gun.
It looks like a submachine gun. If you want to roll, you don't have hypertech, so maybe intelligence firearms, just off the top of my head. If you're trying to analyze what kind of gun it is or anything special about it.
Oh no, she's just
or
touching
just looking at it. Okay, yeah. It feels like a gun. It's not a model you've ever seen before because it's custom. This thing's literally built from scratch.
Okay. She's gonna turn back over to him and just kind of shrug. You got a lot of weird stuff in here. Science fiction horror lab.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, that suit that I just showed you has one additional thing on it.
Oh gosh.
There are these 2 little ports on the shoulders, like left and right. They're holding, they're propped up so you can see them, but it's obvious they would collapse back in normally. They're just open for inspection or whatever. And inside of each of them are 5 of those little crystals. Like I said, the little ones, not the water bottle size ones, because we kind of had to retcon the water bottle size actually, so assume they're the smaller ones.
Okay.
Anyways, there's a total of 10 of those crystals in there, or near enough. And it's just it might look kind of odd because those almost look like they're meant to be fired. That looks like a launching system of some kind. If it were like a comic book or something, that would be the logical assumption.
Okay.
And last thing, I promise, last thing. there is a gauntlet hanging on the wall, which I'm going to link you a picture of.
Oh, jeez.
It looks like that, but slightly more high-tech. There's no, like, dials or anything else on there. It's all digital.
Okay.
But it has room for 10 crystals of the little guys and one of the water bottle-sized ones.
Jeez.
All of which are currently mounted on it. So some of the crystals are, like, pulsating. They look like they're fully charged.
Okay. She's gonna walk over to the suits and she's just gonna give them a quick glance over, but then she's gonna walk over to the gauntlet and I'm assuming nothing's like enclosing the crystals like the other ones.
No. So she can, and these don't smell or anything. So yeah, she can look at those.
Yeah, she's probably gonna like touch one and see how it feels and stuff.
It feels warm. Like, are you touching the little ones or the big ones?
Little ones.
Little ones are just warm to the touch. Like, not hot or unpleasant, just like, almost like you're touching a plant or a tree or something. It's got a little bit of residual warmth to it.
Okay.
And they're glowing, as I said, so. Do you touch the big one?
Sure, yeah, she probably would.
Actually, no, shit, I just realized, no, that one's not charged. Okay, that one's actually dead cold. That one is, like, utterly inert. Otherwise, it would have been a lot warmer. Sorry. But anyways, sorry.
It's
I'm
fine.
messing this up.
It's fine.
Okay, so, he'll grin at that and say, that's a nice little toy we came up with recently.
What does it do?
Absorbs electricity, actually.
Huh. I suppose that could be useful, yeah.
You haven't seen the best part yet. He pulls up his little, like, data pad and shows you a video clip. It shows Dimitri in the boat at their little firing range, which you can see there is, like, a little firing range further down the cargo hold. He's got the gauntlet. He sights along towards the target, fires, because it fires one of the little crystals at the target. One of the charged ones, it looks like. And it sinks into the target, because these things are actually fairly sharp. Sinks straight in, and it, like, glows brightly for a second, then explodes. Little crystal shards.
So it's a needler from Halo.
Yes. In effect, it is literally that.
That's amazing.
It doesn't fire rapidly, though, sadly. Or at least we haven't designed that.
I hated the needlers, but they were so fun.
Yep.
Okay, she's gonna blink and then she's gonna look back over to the crystals. Okay. Well, that's odd. It's weird.
Also, by the way, Dimitri's going to kind of frown because when you were standing by the charged crystals, they kind of started pulsing slightly differently, like almost got weaker. And he's looking over at them, like he goes over and checks them, just like, that's weird. I haven't seen them do that before.
She's gonna follow him back over to the crystals.
And they're going to start pulsing weaker. And he's just like, step back for a second.
She's gonna take a few steps. Actually, I think it's like 3 yards is actually the...
Yeah, so assuming like she steps back until she crosses that threshold,
Yeah.
it'll start evening out. He's just like, huh. Now I don't like he's like, I don't know much about your group, except that, well, the summary I got was rather rude. It was something to the effect of ninja death cult assassins.
Not wrong.
Well,
Not entirely.
I'm assuming that's not the full extent of it, though.
Oh no, not even close.
But they seem to, you seem to have some sort of effect on these. These aren't always the most stable. I will point out he literally just told you that these are all, in a sense, able to go off.
She's just gonna walk back over there. Sounds like you should fix your crystals then.
I don't think it's us, though. No one else has provoked this reaction.
Well, why not?
He looks at you kind of funny, just like, 'cause I will point out, echoes and shit does happen for technocrats as well. It's, an unpleasant side effect. They usually assume it's like a result of being exposed to bad energies or whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to roll progenitor lore because it's life energy shit. I should actually be able to pick this up. And if the STs say I can't know this, then we'll retcon this portion, but I'm pretty sure we're safe.
Okay.
I think that'll be progenitor lore. Okay. I think if it's diff 6, I got 3 success. If it's diff 8, I got 2. Either way. Some people don't deal well with plants.
She arches an eyebrow. Plants? But they're crystals.
They used to be plants. They still function like them in some ways.
Ah, and she steps back again.
He shrugs and just puts the gauntlet back and, steps away from them like, yeah, it might be best if we don't stay too close to us. They're not likely to go off just from you being near them, but this is...
Yeah. Just be glad they weren't actually still plants.
That bad?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Either way, my apologies. I didn't realize. I thought they were stones.
No, that's quite all right. In any case, so now that we've had the little show and tell, my apologies. But, so Arthur isn't precisely ill in the physical sense. He seems to have pushed his limits in some way. Something about trying to absorb the spirit of a Celestine, a greater spirit of some kind.
Sounds difficult.
It's apparently damn near suicidal, according to Master DeSaul and certain others in the city.
Why would he do it?
To give himself the power needed to actually defeat our enemies. Which he was successful with every time he's done it, but obviously there was a cost to doing this.
There is always a cost to defeating your enemies.
Well, in any case, it seems he's going to take a little while recovering, and in the meantime, and possibly permanently, Arthur has stepped down and placed DeSaul in that position. So, that's one thing, but there are a few other developments I should make you aware of.
And those are?
I don't know if you met a lady by the name of Serena Novak.
I don't believe I ever did.
Well, you won't get the chance now.
And that's fine with me.
She, well, I'll say was because she's no longer in the city, but I believe she's still alive. She was an Aetheryte. You familiar with them? In passing, I think she would be. Probably.
Yeah, she would be, but I don't. I barely.
Out of character, they're one of the traditions. They're basically steampunk tech, retro tech, obscure technologies.
Yeah, Sons of Ether.
Yeah, the Sons of Ether.
Yeah, almost went.
They're also known as Aetherites, but yeah.
Okay.
The Society of Ether is their new name. But anyway, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he says, I assume you've heard of them before.
Yeah, a little. I tend not to deal with others very often.
Well, she apparently, before we came to the city, designed some sort of item which she had planned to use against the technocracy. Wasn't a bad design, honestly. They were these little grenades based on microwave technology, which means they had the ability to short out and interfere with electronics in a decent close range.
So like an EMP grenade.
Essentially. The technology is a little more advanced than what exists in the public, though. They were small. The power source was too advanced for what you'd expect to see. It's something that should not function. The technology, from what I saw, is maybe 10, 20, maybe more years outside of what we have today. So not like a phaser or anything, but still enough to raise eyebrows and that's an understatement. Because you see, it's one thing for one of our people to simply make an item like that and use it. As far as the technocracy is concerned, the reaction to that is, oh, what do you know? A deviant's using deviant tools. It's not, it may make them disturbed if it's something specifically designed to fight technology. They may make a note of it. They may even make that person a little more of a priority to deal with. But again, it's not going to raise a huge, flag. However, her idea was to apparently create some 4 crates of them, as I understand it, and then provide them to the Triad to be used against the technocracy en masse.
It doesn't sound very good at all.
That's the sort of answer which gets people killed, though.
Yeah.
She was warned against that action. I warned her against it. Arthur specifically forbade her from doing it. But let me explain the details of what happened. This last Friday night, myself, Miss Langley, and Mr. Castle King were all at the VIP lounge at the museum. Zan Shusen Zut. I can pronounce it. I swear.
Zan. I know.
Zan and Miss Novak were there. They were discussing other matters, which I'll get to in a moment. Trust me. I plan on telling you everything about this. At some point, the conversation came up that they were waiting for these items. Because you see, when Miss Novak originally embarked on her plan, she had no contact with the Triad. And being a Westerner and a woman, no offense, it made introducing yourself into that society problematic. Her idea of how to get in touch with them was to walk around the slums of Hong Kong asking where she could talk to the Triad.
Wow. Okay.
Miraculously, she did not wind up dead.
Talk about a miracle.
Zan was actually originally sent to us to convey a message from the leader of the Triad to say, hey, tell this Guilo to stop before one of our more overzealous employees kills her. So she was told to stop, and she did. And it was as simple as that. But apparently, sometime since then, Zan has changed his mind and convinced his leader, who I believe is named Ping Mai, the leader of the Triad, or at least the local Triad, I'm not sure how their organization works, I assume it's a city leadership position, has convinced the local Triad leader to agree to this transfer, and that all they would do is provide a demonstration, and then the sale would proceed as expected. It wasn't money that was motivating Ms. Novak, of course. She wanted to take the fight to technocracy, which is a worthy goal. It's just the execution that was the problem. The problem is, of course, when Miss Langley and I heard this, we voiced our concerns that this idea had been shut down for good reason. There was an argument. No physical violence, of course. It's impossible there. But it got a little heated. We explained the consequences of that course of action. We were told, frankly, that it did not matter because, as Serena said, even if the entire city went down in flames or something to that effect, at least we'd have been fighting the technocracy. Zan's response was rather similar, something to the effect of, it is better to die on one's feet than on one's knees to a conqueror. Even though I understand that sentiment, but as we pointed out, that's one thing to say about warriors, or anyone who has a warrior spirit. It's another thing to say that with the collateral damage of an entire city.
Especially one as large as Hong Kong.
Precisely. I will point out before I continue that I have spoken with his Mandarin, the leader of the Hsien, and he has assured me and our speaker that the other Hsien do not share Zon's opinion on this matter, that he acts on his own interests only in that regard. How to explain this? After that discussion, well, during it, I should say, during that discussion, I was in contact with Arthur while Miss Langley was engaging them in verbal discourse. I got a hold of Arthur, who at that time was not incapacitated, and said what was going on, explained, hey, could you possibly exert some influence over these people and convince them to stop? He said, well, you're there, I'm not. Tell them not to do it. Tell them this is a bad idea, and here's why. I explained I'd already done so. And if you're curious, I have the texts I can show you. But suffice to say, the summary of it is I asked for permission to name drop. I was a little bit insulting in regards to Ms. Novak because I was getting frustrated at that point. I don't like dealing with people who do not like to learn or learn from their mistakes.
So idiots? So idiots?
That, yes. I don't have a high tolerance for them.
Can't blame you.
Except for Brannigan. I heard that. One of the guards sticks his head in the door. Sorry, running joke.
Oh, good.
Anyways, Brannigan's going to wind up turning this into the technocracy. I'm sorry. Yeah, he did make that joke, but yeah, moving on. Moving on. I name dropped Arthur, as I'd said, and explained that Arthur was saying to take this matter to the council, that it should not be embarked upon until then. Serena accused me of lying. I showed her the text. She promptly stalked out of the room. She looked as if she was about to have an epileptic fit of some kind, and then she left. Zahn followed her after iterating the statements I already told you, that, in his view, fighting, even if we're certain to die, was better than not fighting. Even though, as I told him, we have been fighting, we're just doing it intelligently, not like morons.
Yeah.
We've already scored some major wins, and the best part is they're not aware that we've done so.
That is good to hear.
Now, I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, but essentially, they walked out. I stayed there for a little bit, and then Miss Langley left, Mr. King left, and I left a few moments afterwards. But I heard a muffled boom from the outside, and then a roar. By the time I got outside and joined my compatriots in the car, and we were about to leave, because when you hear that sort of disturbance, you usually don't want to stick around. We're not field agents. We began to drive off, and as we turned the corner, we saw that Zahn and Serena were being menaced by a 30-foot-long alligator.
A what?
A 30-foot-long alligator.
In Hong Kong.
Apparently it came from the sewers. I'm not even lying. There was video footage. It's been kept, to the keepers of the museum, but we didn't hallucinate it.
Are you sure we're in Hong Kong and not Louisiana or Florida?
If it helps, I think that thing was moving far faster than an alligator has any right to, so it might have been, he uses air quotes, magical.
A magical 30-foot alligator. That's wonderful.
Well, in any case, we didn't stick around to see how that ended, but I'm told no one died.
Well, it sounds like the Serena person might have just needed to die.
Well, as I said, she was no longer in the city, but I'll get to that in a moment. We did some investigating afterwards, and, shall I say, complaints were lodged with the right people. Arthur was incapacitated later that same night before he could deal with this problem. But that's another matter. Damn, there's a lot of things to catch you up on. I apologize. But anyways, we spoke to the Mandarin. We spoke to DeSalle, who at that point was essentially acting speaker in Arthur's absence, an unofficial position, but he was doing so. Since he was the highest ranking mage other than Arthur, to my knowledge at the time, we went for him. Though apparently there is another mage who qualifies as a quote-unquote master. Bao, I believe his name is. He's of the Akashic Brotherhood. The baseball god, or something of that nature. That's his title. He seems very capable, but I don't know too much else about him. He seems very eager to serve the city, however. So he's actually helped Miss Lang recently, so I owe him a little bit. In any case, suffice to say, we went from there. Discussions were had, plans were made, and while we were discussing matters with Desal received a text from Zahn, because Desal had Arthur's phone.
Okay.
Zahn was attempting to contact Arthur and inform him that he had the grenades, which he knew were not supposed to be given to him. He was present when I informed them and showed them the proof that Arthur had forbidden this transfer. That he had the items, and that if Arthur wanted them back, he would have to pay Zahn the total of $5 million or sufficient advanced weaponry to negate that cost. He's trying to ransom our own property.
That.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, he said that if we did not come to a deal quickly, he would sell these on the black market to whoever could pay his price.
And I'm working for this dude.
Why do you think I called you here?
That's great.
Now, since then, Desal, sometime Saturday during the day, I believe, caught up with Miss Serena, talked to her. I don't know what was said. All I know is that the culmination of it was he offered her a chance to fix her mistake. She point blank refused. I believe the words he said were used were, "You'll have to kill me." Not something you want to say to a master of anything.
Nope.
He didn't, though. He instead, since she refused to help, sent her out of the city to a place of her choosing. She won't be coming back. But she is alive, as I understand it. Just not a factor for our issues anymore. Now, the weapons are still in Zahn's control. Desal, I think, placated Zahn, but then we went to speak with the Mandarin, or he did. And as I understand it, the result is that things will be dealt with in regards to Zahn. I don't think we'll be forced to pay any price for them. I think that our property will be restored to us, and this whole mess will be able to be finally swept under the rug once and for all. I know that I intend to, if given the chance by our new speaker, I'll find those grenades. We've already got their schematics, so if I needed to, I could build more of them. But rather than risk someone else doing some harebrained stunt with these damned things, this is the 5th time I've heard them brought up since I came to this city, I'm just going to disassemble every one of them and use them for parts.
Sounds like a good idea.
Maybe we can make something else out of them. Anyways, I mean, it's not like we have any shortage of ideas here. Gestures around.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff here.
You haven't even seen the bats or the drones.
Bats and drums?
Drones. I could show you if you like.
Sure, lead on. Apparently today is Tony Learning Day.
Oh, we don't have to go anywhere. Don't worry. He raises the pad and just taps at it a few times. That bug thing you saw earlier comes into the room slowly. You know, the thing the size of a St. Bernard. It's got, by the way, what is very obviously a weapon on its back. You probably wouldn't have seen this earlier. It doesn't look like a gun. It looks like almost like a super soaker. Except not like, obviously, it's not a children's toy or anything. It's obviously a canister of some kind with a way to project it, like a chem sprayer or something.
Okay.
It just like comes in. It's not acting hostile, if you can tell such things. It's just, like you ordered it to come in, it came in. It's like we've got a couple of those running around. They're fairly handy.
She looks over at it and nods. So that's what that was.
Oh, did you see one of these?
Briefly on the way here, yes.
Must have been wandering the halls. They do patrol. Keeps us a little bit safer. It's one of the security measures here. They're fairly useful. They project a sort of an incendiary gel, which sticks to the target rather like napalm and then functions rather like white phosphorus.
Sounds like a very nice tool for destroying vampires.
Or anything that's flammable, we found.
Well, yes, those two. Pretty much.
I'm rather proud to note we had 6 of these. One of them was destroyed. The one that was destroyed was stepped on by what I'm told is a were-fox, a kitsune, who was apparently immune to fire. It stepped on it and destroyed it. It was immune to, of course, all the incendiary gel that was released. The floor was not. It fell through to the next level. So I'm rather proud of that device. And the bats, he sends the drone off and hits another button, and what appears to be a completely normal bat just flies in and roosts on his shoulder, essentially. It looks completely normal. You can make as many successes as you want if you were examining it. It acts like a normal bat, except that it's doing what he told it to.
Have you trained these creatures for something?
Not quite. He turns on the pad and shows you. Now you've got a audio-visual view from the bat, including echolocation sonar, pinging the room every second or so.
Interesting. Never seen anything like that. Then again, I haven't seen anything on this boat.
I'd hope not, honestly, though some of these were created by Castle King as well, so you might have seen virtual adepts with similar technology. But they're not that dissimilar from us in some ways, though don't tell them I said that. They only left our organization 50 or 60 years ago? They haven't deviated that far in time.
Mm.
Anyways, so back to what I was saying, though. My apologies. I got a little sidetracked with our toys. So, I believe the whole issue with Zahn will be sorted out shortly, since our speaker and the Mandarin have investigated the matter. I wouldn't say anything about that, of course, but I would recommend, under the circumstances, I don't know what your arrangement is with Zahn, or even what you're paid for. I just know that it's been stated you work for him.
What I do for Zahn is I train his men various fighting techniques.
Martial arts, melee, firearms?
I do a little martial arts, but it's not what I'm skilled in.
So primarily swordsmanship, essentially.
Yes, with the swords I have crafted.
Interesting. Do you forge weapons?
Not very often. I haven't really found a forge, and I haven't built one yet, though I am planning on it.
We might be able to make you one here. We have a mattered assembler in one of the other rooms, but it's not quite the same thing. You could construct a sword with that. Wouldn't be too difficult, but it probably wouldn't be the way you do things.
Probably wouldn't be very good then.
Most likely not. However, I'm sure we could create what you need for a forge. It would just take a little work. You need to create a flue vent for the smoke and everything else.
Would be lovely, but no doubt there's probably a cost to this.
I don't charge anyone else here rent. It's not even my abode. It belongs to Castle. He's kind enough not to charge us rent. I wouldn't, obviously, with that said, I can't offer you a place here without talking to him, but if it would get you away from him, I would suggest consider staying here for a while. If you're concerned about any of our intentions, as I said, it's not like I'm the only person here. There's Miss Langley, there's Castle King, Michaela. There's also a shifter by the name of Hikaru, part of the House of Swords, who resides here occasionally. He's a frequent visitor, if nothing else. There are some other individuals, but I would not... Let me put it this way. I know it may seem like I'm something of a blabbermouth. I've told you about all these different things we use here, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are other things. If you were not to agree to stay here, you won't know about them until probably quite some time. We try to keep some things close to the vest.
I can understand that.
Yeah. Good. Sorry, go ahead.
While this does sound like a nice setup and the idea of a forge is very nice, I would enjoy a few days to think it over. The suddenness of telling me that my boss is now this... Phrase it fine, or can I English today? To phrase it politely, this kind of money hoarding bastard. I
Which is
guess.
odd, given how free he seems to be with it in other cases. He gave us that Humvee, you know.
Yeah. You know he's letting me stay for free in a penthouse of his?
Impressive. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't promise any accommodations like that.
Trust me, it is extremely different from what I'm used to.
Oh, don't worry, someday this will be a freaking yacht, but that day is not yet.
I doubt this place will ever become a yacht.
He grinned. You don't know what the renovations will be like.
A yacht this large with everything you have on it, I don't see how it would be possible.
What part of this room defines possible in your world? I'm just curious.
That is also a very good point.
Thank you. Like, he's not offended, he's just like, come on, you don't think I can make this place look pretty? I'm sorry. He did mention a matter dissembler reassembler.
Yeah.
What's that? I need gold-plated bathtubs? Okay. Anyways, speaking of which, he's like, if you want, I could offer you something. This would be a good faith token. I would not recommend trying to liquidate this or sell it to anyone else for quite some time. But I would promise that if I find a way for us to liquidate them in the near future, we would not charge you or any sort of finder's fee for you liquidating later. And I can tell you what the rough value of these items are. This would just be a good faith gesture, as I said. I don't have money to offer like some people do. We're barely scraping by.
You do realize that I don't really care about money, correct?
He shrugs. Some people do.
Some
we
people.
have. You realize we haven't had money here until the past couple days. We've been living on our own for months. We've pretty much been surviving on charity.
How do you think I've been getting by in this city? It's rather annoying.
Fair point. Fair point. I like helping people be self-sufficient, though, honestly.
I like being self-sufficient.
Anyways, here's what I would recommend. I don't blame you for being a little discomforted by how abrupt this is. I'm going to give you the number of our new speaker, DeSalle. Send him a message at some point. Just say that actually, I'll send him a message as well. Just talk to him. He's a fairly reasonable person. A little bit gruff sometimes, but I think you would like him. He's very pragmatic.
I'm not really sure what I'd tell him.
I would assume you're simply trying to verify what I've told you. If that matters to you. I would give you Arthur's information, but as I said, I don't believe he's capable of communicating right now. So the closest I could get you to him would be Jason Or he shrugs. That's Jason is his closest confidant, as I understand it. That's about the only other person I could have. There are many others, of course, who I could give you numbers for to vouch for me. But I understand if you simply just need time to think it over regardless. That's completely understandable. But I would ask that you not bring this to Zahn's attention, obviously.
Obviously, I enjoy how much confidence you seem to have in me, yet you're offering me a place to stay.
He shrugs. If you want me to be brutally honest, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for a little bit of charity, but even if we're not charging rent, there might be other things you could do to help out around here. Most of us pretty much help as needed. It's not a matter of you must, it's simply can you and do you feel like it? If you don't,
I would.
it's more a matter of the people on this boat, how to put this bluntly, we're eggheads.
I couldn't tell.
We
Really?
We don't have field expertise. Plus, we do have a few individuals you could train. You've seen all three of them already. There are only 3 guards here. I'm sure they can use a refresher if you wanted to. And it probably wouldn't be too difficult to just train 3 people as opposed to a large crew. Shit, I'll be right back, okay? Technical
Okay.
difficulties, one moment.
All good. Yeah.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
No problem.
There's someone at the door. I had to go answer it and pull a package in. Okay. So, where we leave off? He says, simply put, we're not field agents. As you can see, we have all the equipment for a field agent.
Plainly speaking, you guys are a bunch of nerds.
Yes. Now, all of us have been trained in at least the most basics of self-defense, but we're more useful back here.
Clearly, some of the things you've made are, yeah. Oh my gosh, I cannot think today. Sorry. My bad. Sorry.
Okay.
Like, my
Brain
brain.
freeze.
Yeah.
It happens all the time to me. Don't worry about it. Need fish oil, which I just got a package of. Anyways, he'll shrug and say, "It's as I said. It's something which you would be able to help with. There are many issues which, right now, we could easily operate as armors to give people equipment. You're already able to make your own weapons. We could probably assist you with that in some way, provide you with superior materials or mechanical ways to enhance weapons that you've created. But we would probably, let's say, I'll give you a actual example. There is a building here in the city, Thaw Beverages. You may have heard of them in the news recently.
I think I have, yes.
They're involved in some nefarious things. They've been dumping toxic waste some 150 miles outside the harbor.
Oh, figures a big corporation would do something like that.
The unusual thing is, after we did some investigating, and I've polled some of our other sources, the company is essentially owned by another organization known as Pentex. Unless you got Shifter Lore or something, you probably wouldn't have heard of them.
No, she doesn't.
Apparently, they are nemesis of the shifters, the werewolves and the like. I don't fully understand the situation with them, but apparently they have some advanced technology, some forms of quote-unquote magic, other crazy things. And their entire goal is to destroy and corrupt everything, including the environment.
Well, doesn't that sound just cheery?
Yes, apparently I don't see, after looking at their facility, why they would even have toxic waste as a byproduct. It's almost as if they designed it that way. But suffice to say, we stopped them from doing that. He doesn't say how. we stopped them, but we don't have anyone to go in and investigate their main building. It would be much easier if we were able to send someone else in there. In fact, I'm working on a suit myself that might be quite useful for a infiltrator.
Is that so?
Yes, it's still in the conceptual stages, though. It'd probably be at least a month or two before it's finished. But in any case, it's oh, I should probably mention, in case you at any point mention this to Zahn or hear from him on this matter in other regards. He did have a business dealing with us, which did not go well.
As in what exactly?
Let's see how to describe this. We, earlier in our period here in the city, had a unpleasant encounter with a vampiric organization known as the Sabbat. To be fair, we kind of brought it on ourselves. It's my idea. We went along with it, but it was my idea. We were doing something for the House of Staves, rescuing some sleeping elders of their kind that had been captured by another organization, and we wanted to lay a false trail. I had been told that this Sabbat were hostile to the city and were free targets, so I laid the trail to them. It's actually quite effective, but when they discovered that, they were apparently none too pleased, and they left us some nasty messages, tearing out a light pole or two and destroying a transformer and scrawling some nasty messages on our warehouse. Because we lived in a warehouse at that time. We abandoned that location within 24 hours.
It's good to hear.
That's when we came here. But since then, we set up many, shall we say, defenses, fields, wards, and the like to prevent them. They did eventually bypass them and got into the city. Or got into the city. They got into they got into our area. We had a van at that time. They came in. A woman picked it up, held it over her shoulder, and walked out with it.
Well,
Vampire.
disgusting creatures.
Well, before you get too hasty, they did throw it into the harbor and make a message out of it, though nothing that drew too much attention other than from us. But at that point, we didn't feel very safe because our own efforts to keep them at bay had failed.
Naturally.
So we improved the defenses somewhat. And Zahn, when he heard about it, offered to assist us. And at this time, we had no idea of its temperament. So we went along with it. He didn't seem too interested in what he'd be paid with so long as he was recompensed in some way. He expressed an interest in our suits. He nods towards how there's one suit missing. What he did was he put us in touch with a earth elemental, a spirit, who all he did was put us in touch with it. He summoned it. From there, we conducted negotiations. We made a deal with it. It protects us. So if you were here, you would so benefit from its protection. It's fairly powerful, as I understand it. But in return, those who dwell here must occasionally, usually as a group, attempt to solve local imbalances in the spirit realm. Like people dumping toxic waste 100 miles out in the ocean.
I see.
So far, we've done pretty well. All the requests have been very straightforward and were easily dealt with. So it's been a very profitable deal for us. Now, he expressed an interest in the suit. We explained to him the suit has many eccentricities, things you would have to do to maintain it properly. He'd been here before. He's seen how we keep these suits, that they're not simply thrown over a rack. We tried to explain these issues to him. He didn't want to listen. He has a little bit of a arrogant way about him, if you know what I mean.
Oh yes, I've seen it occasionally.
So we declined to argue with him at that point. He wanted the suit, we'd give him the suit. We made our case. He didn't want to listen. So we stopped trying to tell him and just said, whatever. Here you go. Here's the suit. Have fun with it. Proved that it worked. Well, stopped functioning about 4 hours later. It's meant to stay in a vat like that. It's not something you can get off the rack. So that suit is now useless. It's essentially an expensive watch. So, in his eyes, we've cheated him, and that's his justification for trying to ransom the grenades from our speaker.
Because he didn't listen.
Essentially. So, just wanted you to be aware of that in case it comes up in conversation at some point. For the record...
Understood.
For the record, as I understand it, I don't believe Zahn is going to face any official prosecution, at least not from my corner. But he's on thin ice with several individuals now, including the woman who maintains the museum, who, by the way, I should tell you right now, is a vampire.
Why is it always vampires?
To be fair, some of the ones I've dealt with were fairly reasonable. I stress some.
And it still doesn't change what they are.
Well, there's some that are a little unusual. Apparently, there's a Franciscan monk in the city who is significantly old. His name is Brother Bartholomew. He was apparently instrumental in helping to establish the ward against the demons in the city, which keeps the city free of their taint. And apparently there are others as well. There's our prince is actually a former Knights Templar, as I understand it.
Really now?
Mm-hmm. He's the one we rescued, actually, interestingly enough. We apparently were instrumental in rescuing the future leader of the vampires. Good thing to have volunteered for, I might say.
Oh.
He leans in and whispers, "He paid us in 1,000-year-old gold trade weights." That's why I said I can give you one, but we don't really have a way to liquidate that. And I wouldn't try. It would probably raise attention.
I don't see what I would do with a gold bar. Or
keep it and polish it? I mean, that's kind of what we're doing. I think with the historical value, the total amount he gave us was something like $15 million. That's counting the historical value. But unfortunately, trying to sell those would be a monumental mistake, unless you had a very dedicated small-time buyer.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't try fencing those. In any case, so. But no, I'm sure we could come to some sort of arrangement if you think on it. But either way, like I said, I won't press you on that topic any further. My apologies. In any case, that's all I can think of for local events recently. That ward, actually. The whole issue that Arthur was straining himself on most recently was because the ward that keeps the demons at bay has 3 focal points. Whatever ritual they did to do this is based around 3 pillars, I understand. One of them was destroyed Friday night.
Oh, great. So now there might just be demons in the city now.
Unlikely. The ward is still intact. It's been weakened, though. I don't believe that it's been dissipated, but I'm not clear on the specifics. I don't think it's that simple, though. I don't think it's a matter of destroy one and the entire thing fails. The energy is still there and still working. It's just not as powerful. I don't know if they have any intention of replacing it or what, but right now I believe most people are worried about guarding the remaining ones. We've set some influential people on that course, so hopefully it'll be taken care of. In any case, figured I should let you be aware of that one as well. Any other issues I can think of? Oh, there was an announcement recently. The council is changing how it votes in its seats. You might want to take a look and see if you feel yourself qualified for any of the positions on the council list.
I doubt I will.
It's worth looking at, though. I will say that. You never know. Though I would not recommend nominating yourself. If you actually felt there was a position on that list that you were called to, you'd want to discuss it with someone else who would nominate. And I'm sure you have a few friends in the city at this point. Hell, if I thought it was a position that suited you, and I truly believe that, then I would nominate you. But offhand, I can't think of any. But again, I'm saying just take a look. There are some odd positions and requirements in that city, in that lineup. Anyways, but now it's a simple matter. Instead of it being done in open council now, apparently we're going to move to nominating these people in small closed sessions. And if they make the grade according to the speakers and possibly the various seats, they'll be put into the position and a sort of grace period. And if anyone has any objections to this nomination, they're supposed to raise it sometime in the next month. If no one objects to it, then they are going to keep the position.
Okay.
Of course, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
He shrugs. Well, that's honestly about it. If you have any other questions, or if there's anything else I can do for you, let me or Miss Langley know.
Okay, thank you. Sorry if I have not been helpful with the conversation being
No, it's quite all right.
strong point.
It was, like I said, something that I figured if you've been a little bit busy of late, you might want to know these things.
Yes, I've had things to do, very unpleasant, annoying things, but they must be dealt with. So,
Of course.
anyway, yes.
Ninja death cult assassin things.
Yeah, I suppose so. Ninja death cult assassins.
He kind of grins. Well, then in that case, I'll escort you back upstairs. He takes you up that way. We can end the scene there, honestly, because at that point he'd get her to a Humvee and drive her outside the limits of the ward. Because that way, once she's gone, he can reactivate it. Or rather, basically, if you tried to walk back there, you'd have to get through the ward again. They're very cautious about that. Like, literally, the only people on the white list are the 5 people who live there.
Yeah.
Is everything good? Or is anything else need to be done? If so, I can end the scene.
Not that I can think of. Yeah, she's gonna give it a day or two to think over it before she does anything. So.
Oh, good. And he gave her numbers that she can call, like, oh, hey, just in case you're worried I'm crazy, check with this person.
Yeah.
Anyway. Plus, it might be a good idea to introduce yourself to the new speaker out of character speaking. Anyways, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and have a good evening.